Biden dropped out, I mean, he did basically disappear. He did show up at the convention, but from the point at which he dropped out of the campaign, he basically disappeared. And then after the election day, between that and the inauguration, he really disappeared. And I just think there are legitimate questions about at that point. If he was not fit to run for office, I argued at the time he was not fit to serve in the office at the time, yet he was not in the public eye. Decisions were being made, monumental policy decisions were being made, and I still want to know who was making them. And was the president
You deserve those answers. And first and foremost.
And so far, we are still waiting for anyone to point out where Joe Biden had to make a professional decision or a presidential address where he was unable to do his job because of mental decline.
The Hur report, he had to testify. Robert Hur wrote in a report, I can't even charge this man because if I put him in front of a jury, they're going to say, oh, this is just a confused old man. We could never get a conviction. We had official government evidence that he was in cognitive decline. And what did the White House do? They smeared Robert Hur. They smeared him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not disagreeing with
do you not feel lied to? Do you guys, the Democrats who ran your party, who ran the White House, the people who lied to you as a journalist, do you not feel any sense of outrage about Karine or anybody else in the line?
We don't know what's going to be in the book, by the way. So
why, Basil, is a comment about diminished faculties in here?
I have no idea why the need to put that in there, unless somebody's foot was on the gas or a finger on the scale, whatever. I'm mixing metaphors, but you understand my point. That I have no idea why you would want to put that in the document. But at this point,
it's a warning.
It's not. Well, but why put the warning?
Why put the warning in there? It is. I mean, did it strike you as odd? I mean, it kind of seems completely beyond the scope of the conversation, which is whether he willfully classified.
I don't know if it's odd because the White House pushback was, well, the day he did his interview, it was the day after the Israel-Hamas war started. So are you telling me that the president's mental faculties are mostly diminished when he's dealing with a crisis? This
that's
is
not
vital.
A good response. That's like saying he hadn't slept.
I
understand, but they shouldn't have had to do it.
I love those flashback clips, bro. Love it. In February of 2024, Scott Jennings was like when this report came out and Biden's mental health was came into question. You saw in real time how the media went out of their way to gaslight the doctor for giving out that report. And all the media people dated, like I said, their bias prevented them from really having the energy and the motivation to highlight that story. Because as a journalist, right, if a story came out like that, wouldn't you want to investigate it further to see if there's any validity to what this person was saying? And the fact that most Americans, even before the election, 63% of Americans, there was polls tracking this, 63% of Americans believe that Biden was mentally unfit to be president. There was polls tracking this stuff. Majority of the American people saw it. But for some reason, Democrats who have the ability to interact with Biden in a personal level saw no signs of his decline. Really? And right now, Democrats are grasping for straws right now. Democrat Senator Michael Bennet is grasping at straws after confronting him on Biden's decline, right? These dudes are stuttering. They're making all kinds of excuses, right? Here's a clip. Hakeem Jeffries, Ro Khanna being confronted about Biden's mental decline.
From the book, President Biden didn't even recognize George Clooney at a fundraiser that the movie star was actually hosting for him. Why should voters trust Democrats when it's clear so many in your party went to great lengths to keep Biden's condition hidden from the public?
I can't tell you what happened between George Clooney and President Biden. I wasn't at that event. What I can say is that we're not looking backward. We're going to continue to look forward because at this moment, we've got real problems that need to be addressed.
Sir, here you are several times before the election saying that he was just fine. Watch this.
Biden seeking re-election?
Absolutely. I've seen the president twice in the last 2 weeks. I've had a conversation with him. He's completely mentally sharp. When the president is out there, he's at his best. Have him debate in the general election. I don't think Donald Trump will. I have spoken with the president. He is fully coherent. He is on top of details when I have talked to him.
Were you telling the truth back then?
I was. I have met him a few times at public events, and he was. But of course, I didn't have the full picture. I mean, I met him maybe 2 times on rope lines and at public events. And I do think it's important that, given what has come out, that we take accountability. Obviously, he should not have run. We should be clear to say that. Obviously, there should have been an open primary. And I don't think that's very difficult. Democrats should just be straight up that he should not have run. Now that we know all of the facts, there should have been an open primary. I think to move on and move forward, it's important to take accountability and be straightforward with the American people.
Democrats and their operatives went out of their way. Here's fired Joy Reid. Glad she was fired. How did Joy Reid get a job in media? Someone need to answer me that question in the comment section. How did Joy Reid get a come on, this clip is from 2023. I love flashback clips. That's why I told you guys, I rather trust the internet more than the TV, because the internet is undefeated. If I need to see, what was people saying in 2022? What were people saying about Kamala Harris 2019? Kamala Harris, the reason why she didn't even make it to the first primary election in Iowa, I forget where, is because she don't know how to talk to people who are not Democrats. That was the #1 criticism on Kamala Harris and why she lost the primaries during the 2020 primaries. All of a sudden, 4 years later, she's the best candidate since sliced bread. She's the best candidate since Obama. She's Hillary and Obama combined. Craziness. Joy Reid and Psaki was doing their best to cover for him. Reid, I trip in my own house. What is it about Joe Biden is so enraging to the right because he's so normal? Yeah, it's very normal to face plant in your own house. Yeah, that's very normal. This is the kind of BS they were cooking. And I made this video. Americans are tired of the dishonesty. Every person I talk to in my neighborhood, at my job, people are just sick and tired of the Democrats, their operatives. And you saw it from the intro. The intro perfectly encapsulates what the hell is wrong with journalism. When I talk about journalism's liberal bias, the fact that most journalists, only 3.2% of journalists are conservative. This is why they're not pissed off about being lied to. Because the lie was in an effort to push Democrats into power, to keep Democrats into power, which is what many of these journalists want. And I've been saying this for the longest time. These people have an agenda. Agenda-driven reporting is what we're getting. We're not getting information. We're not getting actual news. We're getting agenda-driven reporting. They want to bring things into your attention that helps their political ends. And this is all this really boils down to. And many people I talk to, they feel like, the media is very deceitful. It's very deceiving. Because at least when you hear news from people online, you already have kind of like an awareness to be critical of what they're saying. When someone's on the television, we kind of lose that because of the presentation. Oh, look how professional it is. They got $1 billion behind them. There's a corporation. It's almost like they use that credibility to push garbage. But I digress. Let's get into the segment of them talking about how Joe Biden handed the presidency to Donald Trump and how Democrats, to protect their own political interest, went along with covering up for Biden's mental decline because they didn't want to give Donald Trump an advantage. Let's continue.
If things go south at the debate, me, Barack, Nancy, and Hakeem have a plan B. Schumer would later deny it. It's a political problem that we have here.
Did he mean go south at the debate in that Joe Biden totally, had a malfunction the way we saw, or did he mean just go south at the debate like he doesn't perform well?
It could have been both.
The fact that he was only concerned about the optics and not about the fact that the president of the United States might be in cognitive decline, might be mentally impaired, to me speaks volumes about the lack of character of Chuck Schumer. But the idea that we did not know about.
And then these same people, they want to sit here and moralize and act like they're so righteous. This is the one. I think that's the #1 thing that I hate about liberals sometimes. Sorry, I dislike about many Democrat voters sometimes, is that they have this moral indignation. And then when you look at their politicians, you're like, these are some of those scummiest people I know. Look at Gavin Newsom, look like a used car salesman, telling you he's going to end homelessness. He wants you to spend $20 billion to end homelessness. 5 years later, you spend $24 billion to end homelessness, and homelessness increased in his state. You spent money and you got the opposite result. Where's the outrage? None. I'm tired of this ish. Optics, optics, optics. That's all y'all care about, Democrat voters. That seemed like all y'all care about, optics. Oh, Trump says mean things. Trump is brash. I don't like Trump's personality. Who gives a damn? We care about the outcomes. Look at the outcomes we're getting. We're getting almost $1 trillion in investment from the Middle East. What your president do? Nada, nothing. Face planting on the floor like it's normal, according to Joy Reid. Your politicians making excuses for a mentally declining individual instead of doing what was right for the American people. You think that was in America's best interest for the Democratic Party and their politicians and their operatives to play this game of plausible deniability? Oh, he has a stutter. Oh, he's as sharp as a tack. Y'all remember that? Oh, I get pissed off just remembering that. And America saw the signs. America, 63% of Americans, before the debate, America didn't need a debate to know that Biden was mentally unfit to be president. But what did Democrats do? Keep gaslighting us, keep gaslighting us, keep gaslighting us until they all came culminating at the debate. Joe Biden couldn't back down from the debate because if he didn't show up, it would have been a wrap for him anyway. Death by 1,000 cuts. But I digress. Let's continue.
About this for the years leading up to the presidential campaign, we all saw it with our own eyes. Video after video, speech after speech, statement after statement.
But there's cheap fakes. It was cheap fakes. Remember? Brian Stelter? Oh, look at these cheap fakes. Right-wing accounts are pushing cheap fakes on X. Tired of these people, bro. Tired.
Her report, the fact that we have people saying today, oh, I didn't know. We had no idea, is outrageous. That's number one. Number two, the cover-up is outrageous. And number three, people were arguing with a straight face that this man could serve 4 more years until, of course, it became untenable at the debate. Honestly, Jake and Alex have done a great service here. This book needs to be written. These stories need to be told because we've lived through the greatest scandal in modern American political history, the cover-up.
Jay Tapper, what? Smart dude. That man is the definition of hedge. During the campaign, hey, he's aligned with my preferred political party. I'm going to do everything I can to help him win. And then when it doesn't work out, I cover him. Oh, why did them put all the blame on the Democrats? Like he played no part into covering up for Joe Biden because he blindly trusted the Democratic Party. And then the third leg, make money off the fact that he was aware at some level of these concerns inside the White House, inside the administration, and he just kept quiet about it. Damn, it must be good to be a liberal journalist sometimes, huh?
Of the decline of the president, the argument that he could serve 4 more years. If he were in office today, if he had somehow won and were in office today, you'd have the same people on TV today saying, he's fine. So, behind closed doors, he's fine, and you know it. But it wasn't just deception about a campaign. The man was the sitting president of the United States. There's more at stake here than just politics.
Exactly.
There's in-the-moment decision-making.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. I told you, Democrats are about themselves. 80% of Democrats are about themselves. They don't care about giving any positive outcomes to the American people. All they care about is, I want to be the ones making decisions. I want to be the ones managing the tax dollars, legislation, the administrations. I want to be in charge. That's all they care about. They care about power and control.
At risk. Who was making decisions on behalf of the country? Because obviously the president was impaired, and there were people who knew it. There were people, those same people were lying about it publicly. And now the real question is, who was making decisions behind the scenes? You can't just move past it.
Why did
it happened, and you can't move past
it. And that's the thing that irks me about Hakeem Jeffries' question here, right? When he was challenged by Wolf Blitzer about his knowledge of Joe Biden and what he's done, brutal. Hakeem Jeffries gets pressed for 2 minutes straight about covering up Biden's mental decline and refused to answer a single question. Why should voters trust Democrats when it's clear so many in your party went to great lengths to keep Biden's condition hidden from the public? And even that didn't work. Jeffries didn't answer. You interacted with Biden the final days he was president. Did you sense that there was a major deterioration? Doesn't answer. Should you have done more to intervene? Doesn't answer. But yeah, we need to move forward. Let's forget about it. January 6th happened 4 years ago, and you still have not let the Republican Party forget about it. why then should we as the American people let us forget about the fact that you went out of your way to hide Joe Biden's discrepancies, mental deterioration, physical deterioration to serve your own political interests? Why should we ignore that? And this is the problem with Democrats. Y'all want to act high and mighty, holier than thou. But when it comes to being upheld to the same principles you project onto the other side, y'all fall short. Y'all even worse than the Republicans. Make it make sense. And before you start complaining about the Republicans, I know half of the Republicans, they care about their own selves. But I know for sure majority of the Democrats care about themselves and their political interests. If 50% of Republicans care about the best interests at heart for the American people, I believe 80% of Democrats don't. And that's the difference. That was, in a pragmatic sense, is why people should vote for Republicans. Because worst case scenario, Trump has to twist some arms, put some congressmen in a metaphorical headlock to push his agenda. He'll have an easier time doing that to a Republican than to a Democrat. Because all Democrats care about is getting in Trump's way. And we need less of that. And that's the number one reason you should vote Republican during the 2026 midterms. But we'll see. We'll see how these people try to spin it. But they're having a hard time. Because so-called journalists who's supposed to be curious, intuitive, who should be wanting to get down to the bottom of things. They want to look at the facts. They didn't do none of that when it came to Joe Biden, when it came to their preferred party. Because of what? Liberal bias. Liberal bias is really hurting the Democratic Party. It's really hurting the media industry, at least the traditional corporate media. It's hurting news because these people they don't have the discipline to put their bias aside and report things objectively because of one concern, because of anti-Trumpism, because of Trump derangement syndrome. They can't give reporting that can help Trump. And that was the number one reason why Biden's mental decline was hidden from the public. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts, your perspective, your opinions. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Please share this video if you feel so inclined. It really does help me out in the algorithm. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.